Hello kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. So in this video today we are going to discuss about how to solve the transportation cost using VOGEL'S approximation method. So VOGEL'S approximation method is one of the method which is used to find the transportation cost. So today we are going to identify the transportation cost using VAM, that is VOGEL'S approximation method. So without any further delay, let's get into the video. Let's read the question first. Find the transportation cost using VOGEL'S approximation method. So in this question, we are going to identify the transportation cost by using the VOGEL'S approximation method. So this is the question. This is the cost like 90, 30, 50, 10, 70, 30, 40, 60, 48, 70, 20. So these are the cost. 5, 8, 7, 14 is demand. 7, 9 and 18 is the supply. So these are the products. A, B, C is a product which should be transported to P destination, Q destination, R and S destination. So this is all about the question. So by using this question, we are going to identify the transportation cost. So before identifying the transportation cost, the first thing which we have to do is we have to identify whether it is a balanced problem or a unbalanced problem. So this is the first rules for doing the transportation cost. So let's see whether demand and supply balance each other. So if demand and supply are equal, that is said to be a balanced problem. If demand and supply is not equal, then it is said to be an unbalanced problem. So let's do the total. So total supply is equals to 7 plus 9 plus 18, which is equals to 34. And total demand is equals to 5 plus 8 plus 7 plus 14, which is also equal to 34. Here demand and supply are equal, so it is said to be a balanced problem. So let me write the total. The total is 34. Now let's start with the allocation by using the VOGEL'S approximation method. Now let's start allocating the demand and supply by using the VOGEL'S approximation method. In northwest corner method, we used to identify which is the northwest corner, and after that we will be seeing the demand and supply, then we will be allocating. But when it comes to VOGEL'S approximation, it is completely different. So we have to find the differences between the values which is there in the cell, and then we have to start allocating the things. So let's start with that. So for starting the allocation, first we have to identify the row penalty and also the column penalty. So let me write it first. Row penalty. Here we have to write with the column penalty. You might be wondering like what is this row and column penalty? So it is nothing but the differences between the least value and the second least value. So here when we take this row, so the first least value is 10 and the second least value is 19. So here we have to find the differences between 19 and 10. So 19 minus 10 is 9. Okay, so let me take this as a difference one. Because we will get many different columns and many different rows, so we have to be aware of which is 1 2. So let me mark it as D1, difference 1. In first row, the first least value is 10 and the second least value is 19. So 19 minus 10 is 9. So when we come to the second row, the first least value is 30 and the second least value is 40. So 40 minus 30 is 10. When we come to the third row, the values are 48, 70 and 20. Among this, the least value is 8 and the second least value is 20. Okay, so while identifying the differences, we should avoid this demand row and also the supply column. We just have to concentrate on the cells which is there inside or the amounts. Okay, so among this, 19, 70, 40. The least value is 19 and the second least value is 40. So 40 minus 19 is 21. Next, when we come to the second column, the values are 30, 30 and 8. The first least value is 8 and the second least value is 30. So it is there two times. We can take any 30 as well. So 30 minus 8 is 22. And when we come to the third row, the values are 50, 40 and 70. So the first least value is 40 and the second least value is 50. So 50 minus 40 is 10. In fourth column, the first least value is 10 and the second least value is 20. So 20 minus 10 is 10. Okay. We identified the column penalty and the row penalty. So among this, we have to find out the highest value. So we have to find out the overall greatest value. So the values are 9, 10, 12, 10, 10, 22 and 21. So among this, the greatest value is 22. Okay. So we have to start the allocations in the Q column. So in Q column, the values are 30, 30 and 8. We should not consider the demand and supply. We have to just consider this demand and supply in the allocations. So in this column, the least value is 8. 30, 30 and 8. So among this value, the least value is 8. So we have to start the allocation here. Okay. So we have to see the demand. The demand is 8 and the supply is 18. So the least number is 8. So I am allocating that 8. 18 minus 8 is 10. Okay, I have allocated everything in this column. So I will deduct this column. Okay, next. So the next step is to repeat the same thing which we have done for the first allocation. So after allocating the first cell, we have to consider the same step again. So again we have to identify the row penalty. Again we have to identify the column penalty. After that we have to do the allocations. So D2. First we have identified the difference one, that is row penalty and column penalty. Next we are going with the D2. So in this we have cancelled this column, so we should not consider this column as well, this cells, while identifying the differences. So in this row, the values which is remained is 19, 50 and 10. So among this, the first least value is 10 and the second least value is 19. So 19 minus 10 is again 9, and in this the remaining values are 70, 40, 60. So among this, the first least value is 40 and the second least value is 60. So 60 minus 40 is 20. So in the third row, the first least value is 20 and the second least value is 40. So 40 minus 20 is 20. So this is all about row penalty. Next, let's come to the column penalty. So we have to identify the differences in the column. So when we consider this column, the first least value is 19 and the second least value is 40. So 40 minus 19 is 21. We should not consider this column because we have allocated everything and we have striked off, so it is nil. So when we come to the third column, the first least value is 40 and the second least value is 50. So 50 minus 40 is 10. So in the third column, in the fourth column, the first least value is 10 and the second least value is 20. So 20 minus 10 is 10. Okay. Identified the row penalty and column penalty. So among this, the greatest value is 21. So let me circle the 21. So 21, 10, 10, 9, 20 and 20. The greatest value is 21. So I have selected this column. So when we consider this column, the values are 19, 70 and 40. So among this, the least value is 19. So 19 is the least value when compared to 70 and 40. So I will do the allocation here. So the demand is 5 and the supply is 7. So among this, the least value is 5. So I will allocate that 5 here and I have to deduct that 5 from 7. So 7 minus 5 is 2. So as I have allocated everything in this column, I just strike off this. So we are done with the second allocation. Again, we have to repeat the same thing. We have to identify the row as well as column penalty. So when we consider this row, the remaining value is 50 and 10. So the least value is 10 and the second least value is 50. So 50 minus 10 is 40. So this is D3. And in this row, the first least value is 40 and the second least value is 60. So 60 minus 40 is 20. In this, the first least value is 20 and the second least value is 40. So 70 minus 20 is 50. So this is all about row penalty. We come to the column penalty. Here we have striked off everything. So this is nil. We have striked off this column even. So this is also nil. So when we take this column, the values are 50, 40 and 70. The first least value is 40 and the second least value is 50. So 50 minus 40 is 10. In this, the remaining values are 10, 60 and 20. So the first least value is 10 and the second least value is 20. So 20 minus 10 is 10. So among the column penalty and row penalty, the highest value is 50. So I will select this row. So in this row, the least value is 20. So I will select this cell for allocation. Here the demand is 14 and the supply is 10. So the least value is 10. So I will allocate that 10 here and I will deduct that 10 from 14. So 14 minus 10 is 4. As I have given everything in this row, I will just strike off this row. Okay, so next we will start with the row penalty and column penalty. So in this row, 15 minus 10 is 40. 60 minus 40 is 20. Here we have striked out this row. So it is nil. And here also nil, nil. Here the remaining value is 40 and 50. So 50 minus 40 is 10. And 60 minus 10 is 50. Because the first least value is 10 and the second least value is 60. So 60 minus 10 is 50. So when we consider all this value, the highest number is 50. So I will select this 50 and I will select this column for allocation. So among 10 and 60, the least value is 10. So I will allocate in the cell. So the demand is 4 and the supply is 2. So I will allocate that 2 here and I will deduct the 2 from 4. So 4 minus 2 is 2. As I have given everything in this row, I will just strike off this. Okay, so the remaining values are 40 and 60. So there is no need to do the row penalty and column penalty as we just have these two digits. So among this, the least value is 40. I will start the allocation here. So the demand is 7 and the supply is 9. So the least value is 7. I will allocate that 7 and I will deduct that 7 from 9. So 9 minus 7 is 2. So as I have given everything in this column, I will just deduct this column. Okay, so the remaining is 60. The demand is 2 and the supply is also 2. So 2 and I will deduct this as well as this. I have said in previous video also, at the end you have to get the same demand and same supply. So when you get the same demand and same supply, it indicates that your answer is correct. This is about allocation part. Next step is to identify the transportation cost. So TC is equals to, we have to multiply the units with amount. So 19 into 5 plus 10 into 2 plus 40 into 7, 60 into 2 plus 8 into 8 plus 20 into 10. So we have to multiply this. So 19 into 5 is 95, 10 into 2 is 20, 40 into 7 is 280, 60 into 2 is 120, 8 into 8 is 64, 20 into 10 is 200. So 95 plus 20 plus 280 plus 120 plus 64 plus 200 is 779. So in this problem, they didn't ask to check whether it is degenerate or non-degenerate solution. So there is no need to do that. So if you want to know what is degenerate and non-degenerate, you just go to the previous video so that you will get a clear idea about that step. Okay, so Vogel's approximation method is nothing but you have to identify the row penalty and column penalty, and considering those values you have to select the highest value, and after selecting the highest value you have to just select that particular row or a particular column, and in that column or a row you have to identify which is the least value, and then you have to start the allocation. So this is the step or the process which you have to do until the allocation. So I hope you all like this video. If you like this video, do subscribe to Kingmakers and share this with your friends. Thank you all.